Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the DTM Esports Pro Series 2024. My name is Luke Crane and I am joined by Connery Maddock. We've had a break, Connery. How are you feeling after that break? Are you excited for the next 3 rounds?
Feeling a little rejuvenated. Of course, we've had a fast and frenetic first couple of rounds. We have an obvious leader in the championship coming out of those first couple of rounds. However, you know, after this break, coming into the second part of the season now, things might have changed. Maybe some different preparation going on in the couple of weeks that we've had. Just away from the broadcast, but the drivers, no doubt, would have continued to focus on the races ahead. So we'll have to see if there's any changes there. But right now, I'm still excited for what's to come.
100%. We've got, I would say, 5 title protagonists. A big day for 4 of them. The leader, Tim Yarshall, could probably have maybe a slight off day and still be leading the championship. But maybe you're sat at home thinking, right, DTM Esports, wonder what cars are driving. Maybe I could get involved. Maybe I could race with my friends. You absolutely can. And here's a video to show you what content you could buy on RaceRoom. So there you have it. On RaceRoom, you can go and buy yourself the DTM 2023 pack with lots of cars, lots of liveries, lots of manufacturers. It's always good fun. And you can also go and buy the tracks that we're racing on. Just seen in the YouTube comments. So many rings. Yes, every single track is a ring this season. Connery, as I mentioned, we've got 5 drivers battling for the championship. We've got Tim Yarshall, Jeffrey Rietveld, Kevin Siggy, Nikodem Wisniewski, and Moritz Lohner. Kind of is about those 5 today, but how important is it for the likes of Moritz Lohner, who finds himself, well, was he about 46 points off of the lead? How important is it for him today to get some big points?
The big issue for him over the last couple of races has been qualifying, right? Because we've seen him so many times have to work his way through the field in race number 1 to have a decent shot at race 2. So I think that's one area that he really needs to focus on. No doubt he'll be focusing on it during the 2-week break. So we'll have to see if there's any sort of change there once we get to this race at the Sachsenring. But Moritz Lohner, he's got to stop shooting himself in the foot by having poor qualifying performances. If he gets on the front couple of rows of the grid, then he might be in a better position to try and challenge in terms of points coming in the back end of the season. But if he doesn't solve that issue, then it's really an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's testament to his race pace that he's actually in that top 5, considering his qualifying has not been that great. But if you sat at home thinking, wow, this is the first time I've tuned in, we're already at round 4. Well, luckily, we've got a highlights package for you here. Just, basically so you can see all the stuff you may have missed. Up to the line we go. We are green light racing. I'll tell you what, Fanucci has got an absolute flyer up the inside here. Down then towards turn number 1. Rietveld into number 69 has the inside line through turn number 1. And I'll tell you what, Fanucci here, he might have a run. Oh, there's a big spin. Blyer and Siggy were side by side. They were touching there. I think Tim Yarshall now has got ahead of both of those 2. They've managed to save it. They are not facing the wrong way. But Gianmarco Fanucci from 5th is up to 2nd. What a start in that BMW. This might be the last lap, it might not be the last lap. Jeffrey Rietveld is about to come across the line. And wow, is there one more lap to go? It's going to be bang on the 0. And there we go. That is the checkered flag there. Congratulations to Jeffrey Rietveld. That was bang on 0, that was, by the way. Fanucci is going to finish in 2nd spot. You've then got Enzo Benito who's going to finish in 3rd there.
Here we go then. Green flag here in race 2. in the DTM Esports Pro Championship, charging our way down in towards turn number 1 here. It looks like it's going to be a big challenge for Wisniewski in a side-by-side battle at the very front of the field to try and get that, try and maintain that P1. It's a big stack up behind, big wreck indeed as well. Multiple drivers involved in this as they all try to stack up, heading their way through there. A little bit of a mess. Cars off for the circuit as well. Julian Kunze, Enzo Benito is involved in this one as he's down towards the very last place at this point as well. Dominic Blyer has had another poor start, caught up in that instant as well. He's down towards P26 here at the moment. There's Leon Rudinger involved in a little bit of a battle here with Leandro Verla. So the Pranav in the chat that wanted to see Leandro Verla on the screen, well, you've got him, and he's in fact involved in a bit of a battle with Rudiger here at the moment. Isaac Price in the G2 Esports Porsche on the outside looking into this one as well. Fiducci is one that got caught up in the incident as well. Oh no! Isaac Price spun around in front of traffic, stacks everyone else up behind. We got 3 wide back there in some form or fashion. It's been a very, very scrappy race for a lot of drivers here involved. Yashel not able to keep up with them. Oh, Ottaviani's dropping down the order, and Ottaviani is out in the grass.
Tim Yashel is actually going to lose out here big time, and Jeffrey Riedveld is closing right up onto the back of Nikodem Wisniewski. And wow, Tim Yashel nearly lost out to Kevin Siggy.
Well, 3 seconds left on the clock, and Wisniewski's through the final corner here, Luke.
It certainly is, and well, it's been a very impressive display from Nikodem. Had a bit of a mistake or got involved in an altercation in race number 1. He's had a DNF this season, but I tell you what, his form is that of Tim Yashel. To be completely honest, if he didn't have that DNF and didn't have that incident, I think maybe we would be talking about a very close battle between the front two. It is a race victory here then for our 6th race of the season. So there was the highlights from the RaceRoom last time out. And I just mentioned that Nikodem Wisniewski, probably the form driver in the championship, bar 2 races. He could almost do with throwing away the worst 2 results, and he'd be right up there with Tim Yashel. And he is right in the mix. He's currently P4 in the championship. And if he has a really, really good week this week around, maybe we could see him challenging Tim Yashel, Connery.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's actually very close from second on back. It's just Tim that has really got the lion's share of the points at the moment. But everyone else, Rietveld in second, Siggy in third, Wisniewski fourth, they're all really stacked up together. Only a handful of points between all that grouping of drivers here. But what's Yashel would love to see is all those drivers trying to trade points off of each other and not getting ahead of him in the races to make sure that gap comes down. So we'll have to see what happens here in the back end of the season, but it is setting up for an interesting challenge. Even if Yashel gets away at the front, we still have a great battle for those final those 2nd and 3rd spots in the championship.
100% Nikodem Wisniewski is the only driver to have 2 race wins in the main season. We've had 6 races within the main championship, and then we obviously had the qualifying phase of this season. Right, let's check out the calendar then. You've obviously missed half of the season so far, but we still have 3 rounds to go. So we've got the Norris Ring, Nürburgring, Lausitz Ring. They are in the books, done and dusted. Now we've got the Sachsenring, which we are at today, a very unique race circuit to be stated. We then got the Red Bull Ring happening next week, and then just a week later, it is the Hockenheim Ring for the finale. Right, let's have a look at the timetable for today then as well, so you guys know exactly what you are to be expecting. So we've had the countdown. The stream starts happened already. We're going to head into qualifying in about 4 minutes time, but we'll probably end up there a little bit quicker. We then have got ourselves race number 1, which is 20 minutes long. Then we've got quali number 2, and then race number 2. Difference between race 1 and race 2 is that there is a mandatory pit stop in race 2, and it's 10 minutes longer. Then we'll have some interviews, hopefully if the drivers have got the memo, and then it will be done and indeed dusted. Right, I'm sure you guys are wondering, what are these drivers driving for? Well, we've got some prize info for you. Let's take a look. So we've got plenty of prizes on the line. We've got potential driving a real race car. We've got money on the line. We've got go and get your race license. We've got some e-scooters as well. But let's head on to today then. So we're at a halfway point. We've got 2 races for you at the Sachsenring. And luckily, if you've never seen this circuit before, we've got a lovely little track guide here with Isaac Gillison from Ferrari Esports.
Hey guys, welcome to the Esports Arena here at the Ferrari factory in Maranello. I'm Isaac, I'm one of the Ferrari Esports drivers, and today I'll take you for a lap guide around the Sachsenring for the DTM leaderboard that's running right now in order to be able to compete in the full DTM Esports season. So make sure you check out this video and perhaps you can have a chance as well to compete at the full season. Alright, here we are on the Sachsenring in the Ferrari 296 GT3. Going up the hill through the final corner. Make sure you've got a nice run out of the final corner to start the lap well. We make our way to turn 1. Use all of the road on the left hand side. Under braking just before the curb start braking. Down to first gear. Get the car rotated on the curb on the right. Then bring the car back over towards the curb on the left. Aim to rotate the car quite late. And then down the hill through this double apex right hander. Bring the car back for the second apex. And then make sure you get good traction going up the hill through this first left-hander over the crest. Bring the car back for the second left-hander here. Car gets light as you go over another crest, then down the hill, flat out through this left-hander. Take a bit of curb to get the car rotated. We pick up a bit of understeer. Then down to fourth as you go up the hill again. Early on throttle, try to keep the momentum going. Miss this first apex to open up the second left-hand apex. Through the right hand kink, easy flat, and then down the hill, this roller coaster like drop, braking hard for the penultimate corner, late apex. Always tricky to get the power down here because you cannot really see the exit early enough. And then braking at the white line, down to second, let go run up the hill, and on throttle at a late apex. Quite tricky to get the power down as well as you go over the crest and the car gets light, but that's a lap around the Sachsenring.
Well, we go from Isaac Gillison to now on circuit with our drivers today. So the first race will be a 20-minute long race, and the second race will be a 30-minute long race with a mandatory pit stop bang smack in the middle. This circuit is so unique. Connery, I'm not sure how much experience you have in terms of commentary around here, but this final complex, the downhill section, sweeping through a double left-hander and then uphill again to the start-finish line, may be one of my favourite sights in the world of motorsport.
It's absolutely incredible to drive. Let's just say that it's, especially if you're in something high downforce, it's just a bit of a roller coaster through there. And even in something low downforce, it's still a whole bunch of fun because you're on the absolute limit of grip at most places on this circuit. Whether or not it promotes great side-by-side racing, it can happen. Of course, we have that long run down in towards turn number 1, which drivers can launch it down the inside. So that'll be your main instigation point. I've seen people stick it down the inside of 3 as well and try and get a good exit off of 4. But usually those are in a little bit low-powered machines compared to these. So I have to see how these fare.
Yeah, 100% couldn't agree more. Very big opportunity, especially if you can set someone up through the final couple of corners, get them off line slightly, and then make that move into turn number 1. Turn number 1 is going to be the most vital place on the circuit. That is a fact. Kevin Siggy then, who we are on board with. Maybe it is an idea to go on. Well, no, I would say go on board with him. I've never seen Kevin Siggy make that kind of mistake before. I didn't think it was possible, but here we are. We're on board then with Jack Keithley. So we'll go on a run then down towards turn number 1. Queckenberg curve. Okay, it's just a little bit more beyond a 90-degree corner. You can see it's off camber through the middle of the corner, so if you don't hit the apex, you'll run out wide and put yourself in a little bit of trouble. We now switch through turn number 3 and the Castro Omega. So the Queckenberg curve is the final corner, by the way, just to let you know. Now we're heading into 5, 6, and 7. So such a technical middle part of the circuit, or first sector, should I say, and then it is just basically as fast as you can go. It's a bit similar to what you would find in a sort of go-kart circuit, where you have a real technical part and then it's just flat out for the majority of it all. We get a lovely look there of Jack Keithley's surroundings. He's got himself the old Action Man curtains and the wrestling wallpaper, which has become a little bit of a thing for Jack Keithley. And here is that downslope now running into the final couple of corners. If you can get someone offline through here, and they make a little bit of a mistake, you can then find yourself an opportunity to see the dust has been kicked up by Kevin Siggy. You can find yourself an opportunity down in towards turn number 1. So as you can see, that's very, very difficult to get that power down. So if you can panic someone into making a slight error, we saw how easy it is for Kevin Siggy to make a mistake and lose the car, then there's a potential opportunity for you to make a move. So Hugveld, just done a 16.9. It's probably the fastest time. Wisniewski, 0.06 of a second further back.
Interesting, we had the results show earlier there, but don't worry, the session's not over just yet. It's a little bit of an issue with the overlay. Everything should be fine right about now. So as we see Christopher Hugveld head his way across the line right about now, he's currently, to start a lap that is, but he is currently the pole position holder at the moment. So Christopher Hugveld, the Swede, really putting in a very good lap time at the very early stages of this session, and it seems like it's a bit of a Porsche party at the front of the field. A couple of Audis smashed in there for seasoning, but yeah, it seems like Porsche continuing to do well, at least in this very early stages in qualifying. We know how this can change as the session wears on and as drivers get their sights set on their qualifying laps. As we see Marcel Chinchik currently going purple in the first 2 sectors here at the moment. So Chinchik on a very, very good lap indeed as he heads his way up the hill towards the towards the start finish line.
Yeah, Marcel Chinchik looking to go provisional pole position. Leonard Krippner has just gone up P4. Hugveld, by the way, is P32 in the championship as it stands. So bang at the back of the grid, but currently is the fastest today. And well, if Tim Yarshall is behind you, that is normally a good sign. So Hugveld might have hooked it up and got himself a really nice lap time, and he might be looking at some big points here. How 1 week can change a championship there, Connery. Bottom of the standing coming into today. Right now, staring down the barrel at a potential pole position.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Hugveld. He's had a bit of a slow start to the season. I think he would admit that as well. But with a qualifying lap like that, yes, it is 0.09 of a second ahead of Yarshall, which is not much at all. But a lap time as short as this one, or as well, few seconds as this one, it's still pretty good. Isaac Race continuing on his lap here at the moment, still not set a lap time just yet. As you said, Siggy on a lap as well.
Yeah, he's on an absolute flyer. He's about to come across the line here. It is purple across the line then for Kevin Siggy, the Slovenian, and he's managed to put himself up into P3. So he has broken up the Porsche party a little bit more. He's up there into 3rd spot, but he needs to be ahead of Tim Yarshall. That is the common denominator for this championship. Tim Yarshall's got himself 1 win so far this season, but he's got 5 out of 7 top 3s, and he's got 7 top 5s, 7 top 10s. That is out of a potential 7. Like, his consistency has been absolutely ridiculous. You see Nikodem Wisniewski, the only driver to have 2 race wins in the main season. Is he about to put himself up the sharp end? Is he maybe about to go pole position himself across the line then for Nikodem Wisniewski? And he does. And it is by just over 100th of a second. So now Wisniewski pole position, Hugveld down to 2nd.
Yeah, absolutely. Good couple of drivers on good laps. Yeah, Brzezinski's one of them, although he has to abandon that particular effort. Marcel Chinchik coming across the line here. Of course, his was an abandoned effort as well, so he's starting a new flying lap here, halfway in this session right now, and it's Wisniewski pole position, Hugveld P2, and I don't think that was a front row we were expecting coming into this one. Let's see if that continues on. Ottaviani getting himself up into 7th place. Isaac Price on a lap here as well. Same with Yarshall, same with Siggy. They're all purple through Sector 1.
Jeffrey Rietveld, by the way, just gone up to P5. He got a P1 and a P2 last time around, so probably is the form driver in the championship if you go by Lausitzring. As we go on board with Kevin Siggy, he is absolutely flying as Erhan Yayovsky now moves up into 2nd spot then. So the Macedonian is up into 2nd position. Are we about to see Kevin Siggy improve once again? He's to find 300th of a second. If you go by the 2nd sector, he is currently 3,000ths of a second faster, or fast enough to be pole position. What about the final sector though? Lost a bit of time last time round. What about this time? Across the line he goes. It's pole position then for Kevin Siggy. And it's an Audi at the sharp end with about 7 million Porsches around him.
Yep, Yarshall abandoning that lap as well. Wasn't a great 2nd sector, so With less than 4 minutes in this session remaining, for some of these drivers, it's going to be quite fortunate that this is such a short lap time. That means you can get more laps in 10 minutes. So that would be very, very welcome for some of them. Wisniewski second place, purple through sector 1 as well in this situation. In terms of those drivers that are not set times, of course, Mihai Neg and Benito down towards the bottom of the order, and they're not even on circuit as well. So I think they may just have qualifying bans for this one, but we will get confirmation. Brzezinski, though, up into 7th place. He showed a couple of good sectors earlier on in the session. Finally is able to string one together and get up to 7th. And get this, though, Luke, the top 7 is only, well, just over 1/10 of a second apart. Actually, Rietveld and Brzezinski, they are the same time, down to the thousandths of the second. They're both 0.105 behind the leader.
Yep, you've got top 6 separated by 300ths of a second. That is, yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Brzezinski still leading the way then ahead of everybody who's in a Porsche. Tim Yarshall currently in 6th position. Siggy needs Yarshall to finish a fair few positions behind him. And what he really could do with here is Jeffrey Rietveld is currently 8th position to, be ahead of Tim and maybe help Siggy out a touch, although Rieveld's got his own championship to hunt for. He's actually P2. So Kevin is, not only needing Tim Yarshall to make a bit of a mistake, he's needing his teammate to do so. He's needing Nikodem Wisniewski and Moritz Lohner. Moritz Lohner, where is he in the list today? And actually, I don't think Lohner is there at all. So I don't think he's racing today then. It's something that we hadn't had.
Yarshall.
So Tim Yarshall does go pole position. He's had 3 out of 6 so far in terms of the pole position award. And it looks like it might be about to be 4. Although Jeffrey Rietveld is going very fast, about to come across the line, 2 minutes to go. Does he now find more time? He does. He moves up to 7th position.
Yep, he does. So Yarshall top of the order, Siggy second place is the kind of configuration that we expect them to be in, but there's still time left in this session to get another lap in. Here's Ben Spanky and the BMWs, which have really struggled here today. Coming up across the line now, P22 for Bonky. Across the line he comes, no improvement for that DTM Esports BMW. But having a look towards the further up the order, Krippner with a good lap time gets himself secured inside the top 10. Top 8 covered by the 900ths of a second.
Yeah, it's so tight there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Find yourself a 10th of a second, you're going to move yourself up 10 spots. Really as simple as that. Marcel Shinshik then does go faster through sector number 1. That purple sector is actually based on his own time. So that's why there's 2 people on the track right now. The purple, 3 people actually, if you count Mitchell. The top 27, by the way, separated by less than a second, which is remarkable in itself. But Marcel Shinshik, yeah, he's aborted that lap time, and that will be qualifying over for him. So if he's not started the lap time now, you're not halfway round the lap time now. Basically, that is qualifying over. So I find it very difficult to see anybody improving. I think Tim Yarshall might be about to be added to the old pole position award 4.
Yeah, and so, well, he's actually just sort of parked it at the moment. Doesn't think he can do any better. Altoviani across the line. P10 is still where he's going to be starting here at the moment. Wisniewski going along quite well here. 24 seconds left remaining. The results will pop up early, as they always do, of course. But I think Wisniewski just about has the time to come across the line and complete this lap. There we go. As he's coming up towards the final corner. As, well, we will get the results up. But we'll just have to wait just for a moment for Wisniewski's lap time to come in, whether or not he'll go pole position. But right now it is Tim Yarshall.
Oh, it's going to be really tight if he does get across that line, and it's not going to be an improvement. And I'm not sure he actually did get across there. But Tim Yarshall will take pole position here. That is going to be his 4th of the season. Remember, there is an Asher steering wheel for the pole position award. And right now, with only 5 races remaining, if he gets 1 more pole position, he's actually guaranteed himself to be at least joint top, if not top on his own. But yeah, Tim Yarshall with a pole position to kick things off here today. And well, you mentioned earlier on, has he maybe taken a bit of a step off the gas, and if other drivers found something a little bit extra? Nope, still the Tim Yarshall season right now. His results as of round 1 is 2nd, 1st, 4th, 2nd, 5th, 3rd. So if anything, he was slightly dropping off going into the RaceRoom, but he has responded massively here at the Sachsenring.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what Yarshall needed to continue on his good season so far. Here's pole position, Segi second place, Wisniewski third. And Jowski, Chinchik, Högfeld, Greenfeld, Krippner, Brzezinski, Ottaviani. That's your top 10 starters here. Yes, the graphic only appeared for a very short while, which is why I'm going through them. Emery Chia, 11th with Isaac Price 12, Jack Keithley 13th, Fiducci 14th, Page 15th. And then you've got the likes of Toman, Blyer in 17th. Place, not exactly where he would have wanted to be, especially coming out of his qualifying performances last time out. And of course, we have Mihai Neg and Enzo Benito will bring up the rear of the field here in race 1. Those latter two drivers not setting a lap time in qualifying.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Again, that would be due to a qualifying ban. I'm sure that yeah, you're always going to be trying to put a lap time in these kind of championships. You're not going to do the first challenge just for banter, that's for sure. Where are we watching from around the world then, guys? Get yourselves involved in the chat. I'm watching on YouTube, the DTM page. Lots of you watching over there, so let me know where you are. I'm also watching over on Twitch as well, so let me know where you're watching from around the world. Maybe let me know who you're supporting as well. Right, so this is the first race of 2, so we've got a 20-minute time race. It's a sprint race. So nothing really to be worried about apart from they're going to go on the green and then we're off and we're running until we get to the checkered flag. It might get a little bit hairy in terms of time. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we finished bang on the 0. So we didn't know whether it was going to be one more lap or 2 or whether we were finished. It turned out that we were finished. And that might happen today. But other than that, there's nothing to be worried about. We also have the partnership with Cupra to bring you a safety car formation lap as well. The first time in RaceRoom's history that we've had this. And this is for the DTM season, of course. DTM are partnered with Cupra for their safety car as well. And then we have a second race, which will be an 8-minute qualifying session, and it will also be a 30-minute time race with a mandatory pit stop bang in the middle. 7.5 minutes, the pit window will open, and then 7.5 minutes from the end it will close. And it's also worth a few more points. So P1 for this race is 24. For the second race, it is 40. Right, Connery, any predictions?
Yarshall, if he hooks this up, he's going to run away. But with the times so close here in qualifying, I definitely do not think that's a guarantee. We had almost 10 drivers within the same 10th of a second here. That's all but completely eliminated when you consider that these guys are keeping each other's slipstream coming down the pit straight here. So we might even see a bit of pack racing going on, which would be absolutely fantastic to see. Of course, those big opportunities down in towards turn 1 that the drivers will have to utilize to try and get past their opponents. But I do trust in Yarshall. He's shown incredible speed over the course of this season. He's shown some good defensive driving as well. That will be required here today, I get the feeling.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kevin Siggy. I'm looking at Nikodem Wisniewski. Nikodem Wisniewski's currently 4th in the championship. Kevin Siggy's currently 3rd. They have to finish ahead of Tim Yarshall right now. They can see him run in front of him. I think they have to make something happen early in this race. Otherwise, it becomes very, very difficult for Tim Yarshall to lose, even with a couple of bad rounds. So we head then in towards those final couple of corners. We're here at the Sachsenring for the DTM Esports Pro Series 2024. The championship leader, Tim Yarshall, is on pole position. His 4th of the season out of a possible 7. We have Kevin Siggy on the front row of the grid then in 2nd spot. We then have Nikodem Wisniewski in 3rd position. We've got one Audi in a group of Porsche. It is the DTM Esports 2024, race number 7, round number 4. We're waiting for those lights to indeed disappear and to go green light racing. Across the line we will go. And we are off and running here at the Sachsenring. This is a great start from Tim Yarshall. Gets straight ahead of Kevin Siggy. Kevin Siggy is going to be fighting his way with Nikodem Wisniewski, although he loses out. Erhan Jajowski is going to go round the outside here, and I think by the time they come through turn number 2, it is going to be Erhan that holds on. Is there a slight overlap though for Wisniewski? This is great news for the front 2. Means they can drive away as they all sort themselves out a little bit further back. Jeffrey Breedwell, I think, may have just found himself in position as well. The front 2 have got away beautifully well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big battle for P3, though. Hanjayovsky just about losing out in terms of that one. He's very lucky it didn't slide even further back here, which is always the risk when you're coming through the first sector like that. But he's able to find the gap to slot in and maintain that 4th place. Everyone getting themselves pretty much all strung out single file here towards this middle sector with this absolutely fantastic triple left-hander. It's incredible to drive, and if you get to the opportunity, you get this car pack, you get this track on RaceRoom, then you'll be able to experience it for yourself. But look how much fanning out is going on back here. Oh, around is Axel Vermeulen and Leonardo Verla in the wall as well in the background. A mess at the back of the field.
Yeah, as quickly as they were facing the wrong way, they were facing the right way, but unfortunately they lost about 4 or 5 positions each. Around the final couple of corners, that Porsche looks quick. Tim Yarsha has now brought the gap out to about 0.5 of a second, heading down towards turn number 1. Kevin Siggy not really in a position to try and put any kind of pressure on. But it might be a game of cat and mouse here. Expect the tyres to go off very, very quickly indeed, especially with those 2 final corners. It is going to make the tyres scream. So if you can say something for the final couple of laps and still be within touching distance, there is an opportunity there for sure. So Jeffrey Rietveldt's moved up. He's now into top 5. Hoogveld would be his best performance of the season so far. Currently in 6th. Remember, Christian Hoogveld is last in the championship right now. P32. He's got himself 3 points. And as it stands, and that P6 is going to get massive points, massive gains. He's going to jump up the order, maybe as much as 10 positions.
Yeah, could be. That's, I mean, now's a better time than any to try and get your season back going. Yes, you won't be able to challenge for those very top positions, but at least you've got some points in the back potentially at the end of this race. I won't speak so soon for Hoogveld, but it is looking very, very good for him at the moment in this one. As we see at the top left, windows open in whatever many seconds. That's not really a factor in this one. They do not have a mandatory pit stop for this race. However, they will have a mandatory pit stop for the next event. So you want to stay tuned for that one, as we have a little bit of a strategy involved here. And of course, at this particular circuit, Luke, it does lean on the tyres much more. So we could expect to see the tyre strategy becoming much more of a thing. Yes, it's still a short race to be talking about tyre wear once we get to that second race, but it could mean all the difference, especially when driving are this close.
Yeah, I'll also say one thing. The pit exit is a very strange one because it kind of filters onto the outside of turn number 1. So strategy and making sure that you can gain yourself a couple of tenths could mean the difference between an opportunity of an overtake. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to be ahead. That opportunity of being on the inside, running in towards turn number 1, because if you are coming out and you've got a car on your inside, you're in a little bit of trouble. Gap between the front 2. As it stands at 0.6 of a second, we're a little bit further back then. We've got Ottaviani, who's battling with Leonard Krippner down towards the second to last corner. Are we about to see a move? If you do send it through here, you both lose so much time, but Ottaviani's not worried about that. He is going to move up a position, up to P12, just to give a little bit of a love tap there to Leonard Krippner. No love lost. Look at the time they've lost to the group in front. And then look who's catching up. We've got Gianmarco Fiducci, who's catching up. Emre Cihan now catching up. Lucas Muller a little bit further back as well. But Ottaviani making a lovely move through there. A little bit aggressive, but yeah, beautifully done.
I mean, you kind of have to be aggressive around this circuit. There's not a lot of places for you to get the move done, apart from, of course, the obvious in towards turn 1. But Ottaviani doing a good job there. But you can see just how close these guys are, even looking back. Ottaviani unable to pull away in the last half a lap here, but look at the exit that he gets out of these corners. Impressive stuff from Ottaviani. That might be the difference that allows him to pull away from this grouping behind and to challenge some of those drivers further down the road.
Yeah, 100%. You can see he's already built that gap, and it looks like the BMW and the Porsche in behind, a past teammate of Ottaviani's in Gianmarco Fiducci. These two battling, it does give him an opportunity to literally drive away. Although you can see there Krippner being very aggressive, and all of a sudden Emre Cihan might be getting the move here done on Gianmarco Fiducci. We'll have the outside line coming in towards the second to last corner, but once again the biggest winner here was Ottaviani. Ottaviani got the move done as soon as he possibly could, and I tell you what, on the defensive from Gianmarco Fiducci, now all of a sudden put him in a position to maybe make a move up ahead. We've also got now Lucas Muller, who's just got 2 positions in 1. Wow, frantic stuff here. And Ottaviani again, look at the gap he's already pulled out on this group. He wanted to get away from this group battling as crazily as they are. And it's worked out wonderfully well for him. Defensive work then down towards turn number 1 for Lucas Muller. He's telling Emre Cihan, if you're going to make a move, you've got to go all the way around the outside and try keep the overlap in towards turn number 3. He didn't keep the overlap. That means that Lucas Muller breathed easy for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's a fantastic round of battling here in this little pack of cars. They're all stacked together and absolutely nose to tail, and it's sort of triggering a couple of moves here and there. Willison just going a little bit wide through the left-handers there, not under too much pressure from Christian Michel behind, but that's something you never want to see, because it's so easy to get yourself swallowed up by the field here at this circuit. Battle further behind though, Leon Rudiger, Florian Hasse are going wheel to wheel as Hasse gets himself towards the inside for this triple left-hander. It's fantastic positioning to be in, and he does secure himself ahead in that particular instance as they dive right down the hill, and a couple of looks towards the inside as well here. That big BMW looking for a gap on the inside, and he just might be able to get it there. He might just have an overlap. No, he's just got himself back in line, but another big send on the inside at the final corner.
That's the trouble with this championship. If you do not get a move done in front, you're more than likely going to be under pressure from a driver behind. Enzo Benito now looking to try and get one more position. Seems like overtaking is very difficult around here today with how closely matched they are all after pace. Well, you can see the Dre's just dropped the position there. So Rudiger does gain one. Now Enzo Benito's got to try and look to gain himself a spot. He's now in a bit of a sandwich with the yellow and black cars.
Yep, here. So interesting action going on at the bottom end of the mid-pack, and well, the podium places, except for for the battle for the final podium place, potentially getting a little bit closer between Nikodem Wisniewski and Jajowski in this instance. It's great to see Jajowski so far up the field, where we're used to seeing him. To be completely honest, we haven't, at least in terms of his performances so far this season, we haven't seen the best of Jajowski, but I think this is maybe a little bit of a return to form in the DTM Esports Pro Championship here. He's down in P10 in terms of points, but P4 in the race, going good.
Hey, well, Kevin Siggy, it looked like he closed right up there. Yes, he has. He is closing up to the back then of our race leader. And the beautiful thing for him right now is that if he does get an opportunity to make an overtake, he will not be under any pressure from someone from behind. He's 2.5 seconds clear of that group behind, so he's doing all of the hard work to now give himself an opportunity of winning. And I think if he has got the aspirations of winning this championship, he has the ambitions of winning this championship, should I say, then he's got to beat Tim Yarshall. Tim Yarshall's right in front of him. There is the carrot being dangled in front of his mouth. Can he now go and take that carrot off of that fishing rod, make it into a pretty close championship run towards the end of this season?
He's got to. He has no other option. He's got to make sure that he's the one gaining points over Yarshall and not the other way around. It's as simple as that. I know I'm stating the obvious, but that's just the task at hand here for Siggy. He needs to go all out here in these final 9 minutes to try and attack that Porsche ahead of him, because he just can't be giving Yarshall 3 points like this. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. We know Siggy. We know he's been around the block, shall we say. We know how aggressive he can be when push comes to shove. And sometimes that's literal with him. But look at that. He's gained so much time over the last lap or so. He's right on the back bumper now of that Porsche ahead, just getting closer and closer. Not close enough this time to make a move in towards one, but really applying the pressure at the moment.
He certainly is. The group behind is just slightly catching as well. So I wonder if Tim Yarshall may have just burned his tyres out a touch here. Kevin Siggy is just playing it safe. He's still got 8.5 minutes to go, so plenty of time to go and get that move done. You've got to set yourself up for an opportunity. But yeah, it's right in front of him. If he wants to try and close that gap to the championship lead, he needs to go out there and indeed grab it. He's also got the fastest lap of the race. And Kevin Siggy's one of those. If he is in the mid-pack and he doesn't have that off button where I just want to consolidate and get some points, he has to try and make moves, and sometimes, and that's great for a commentator, don't get me wrong, sometimes finds himself in positions that he doesn't need to be in, and ultimately the races come undone that way. If he can get through the first half of a race and he's in with a chance of winning, there's not many better in sim racing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You give Siggy an opportunity saying, hey, if you can push, you win this race. He's going to take that every single day of the week, and he's very good at it as well. But on the flip side, Yarshall is very good at defending, so it's really sort of the unstoppable force meets the immovable object here at the moment, and we know how that turns out sometimes, so hopefully it doesn't come to that. But But yeah, this is looking pretty good at the moment. Last lap times is concerned though, Yashal was able to pull it back just a little bit by about half a tenth of a second, but the overall trend has been Siggy getting closer and closer, and actually just has a little bit more mid-corner speed there through turn number 1, able to potentially lead on those tires a little bit more, and again coming through this long and winding first, second, well, 3, 4, and then heading in towards 5 and 6 now, potentially is a little bit more confident.
Yeah, it seems like he's able to get the front tucked in a little bit, tidier than the Porsche in front, although Porsche with that exit speed seems to be able to lay that power down a little bit better than the Audi. So two contrasting styles of car, of manufacturer. But as it stands, Tim Yashal's now brought that gap out to just over that half a second mark. So Kevin needs to find a little bit more time, needs to force the issue again into turn number 1. Turn number 1 is the most obvious place to make a move. You can try and set it up through these final couple of corners by sending that Porsche or whatever car is in front of you. It's slightly offline. That means they're slow on the exit of the final corner. Then in towards turn number 1, you can maybe draw up alongside. Easier said than done. Tim Yashal's leading this championship for a reason, because he knows how to get the job done. 6 minutes to go. We are on lap number 11 now. They crossed the line. The gap is 0.4 of a second between Kevin Siggy and Tim Yashal. We've got Nikodem Wisniewski in 3rd spot. And then we've got Erhan Yajovski and Jeffrey Rietveld. So right now, the top 4 in the championship are currently in the top 5. So their consistency at the midway point of this season is absolutely formidable. Really, really good stuff from all of them. Kevin Siggy does have the fastest lap of the race. Well, there is a fastest lap award for the season, as well as a prize for that. But yeah, interesting stuff here. With 5 minutes 40 seconds to go, it is absolutely anybody's at the front between these two.
Yep, it is, but it's sort of the gap sort of stabilizing out around about half a second at this stage. It seems like the Audi has better mid-corner speed than the Porsche is able to achieve. Coming out of the slightly slower speed corners, it seems like the Porsche is able to get the power down, and of course the legs on the straight are there for Yashal as well. So it's going to be a very tough one to make for Siggy to try and make this pass, even if he does get alongside here, because he might not just be fast enough in the right places to try and convert a move. But he needs to set himself up here for the final 5 minutes. Again, there's no pressure from behind. Like you've mentioned before, Luke, Wisniewski is, what, 2.3 seconds behind these guys, so there's no pressure on the back of that Audi here for the moment. And it's always great to see two different manufacturers fighting it at the very pointy end of the field as well.
100%. You see Kevin there trying a little bit of a fake move there. Was never going to try and send it up the inside, but was hoping that Tim would be looking in his mirror as opposed to looking forwards and maybe run ever so slightly wide and leave an opportunity open for Kevin to take full advantage. But at this stage of the championship, I think we can all say that Yashal is not a pretender anymore. He is championship winning pedigree. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to send offline. It's going to be a little bit more difficult now to beat with the older tricks in the book. You need to find something new. You need to be unpredictable. Kevin needs to get close again and needs to find an area on a circuit where you wouldn't necessarily expect the move to be made. But there is Tim Yashal. We get a lovely look backwards. Actually getting a lovely look then at his gaming area as well. But still leading the way. Wants to become a 2-time winner during the season. He won race number 2 from round 1 earlier on this season, and he's been second twice. Nikodem Wisniewski is the only driver to have 2 wins during the main season. Kevin Siggy is also looking to become a driver with 2 wins as well. He managed to get a win in race number 4, so the second race of round number 2, but that was following a DNF, hence why he is not anywhere really near the championship lead. Although he's 3rd, he's still a fair amount of points off. He's 37 points off of what we have for the lead, actually 34 points, should I say. No, it is 37. What am I talking about? It's 37 points. So Kevin Siggy massively needs to finish ahead here.
And just seeing the differences in lines being taken, especially for the final couple of corners. Yashal's taken these big wide entries, trying to get the power down off of the exit, which he's finding a lot of success with at the moment, and perhaps might lean into the strengths of that Porsche with all the weight at the rear, of course. You know, you can get a lot of traction coming out the corners if you take that big wide entry. But of course, behind, then you have Kevin Siggy, mid-engined Audi, really trying to shallow off the entry to the corner, try and get the car nosed in and rotated through the middle, but he is sacrificing a bit of exit speed doing that. So it's good to see the different driving styles of the different cars coming into effect here as well.
You're about to see it exactly here, so you'll see that there's a wider line taken from the Porsche, and then Kevin, it's a very tight line on entry which means he's going to be a little bit slower on the exit, which he does catch up down in towards the second to last corner. And again, very similar in the final corner there. Kevin just turning in a little bit earlier, means his exit speed is going to be slightly compromised, but he seems to think he's able to close that gap. 2 minutes, 17 left on the clock. There's 2 laps remaining of this race. 2 laps for Tim Yarshall to hang on. He currently leads the championship. He's currently 33 points in the lead of Jeffrey Rietveld. Jeffrey Rietveld is only in P5 right now, and actually looks like he's under a bit more pressure from behind, and he is looking to go forward in this race. So this could be the perfect scenario for Tim Yarshall. He finishes ahead of Siggy, Wisniewski, and Rietveld. And of course he does, because he's winning this race. He'll become the second driver to have 2 wins in the main championship season as well, which will be very, very impressive indeed.
Be very impressive, but we still got this situation here just outside of the podium positions. Of course, time is running a little low for these guys at the moment. Of course, you have Yarshall at the front of the field, who just trying to work out where they are on circuit. So this will, so they will be starting the final lap, coming out of the final circuit, final corner here. So there's 1:17 in terms of the time remaining. That just means, well, this is the 1 to go next time they head their way across the line.
Yeah, Tim Yarshall then just one more tour of this Sachsenring circuit. In behind him, 0.8 of a second now back is Kevin Siggy. The gap was 0.4 and he didn't flinch, so I'm not sure he's going to flinch with 0.8 of a second of a gap behind him. Christopher Hugveld, bottom of the championship coming into this weekend, and well, he is currently 6th in this race. Big points for Hugveld. He's going to march up the championship order, and for me, as much as Tim Yarshall's been incredible, this is driver of the day so far for me. Christopher Hugveld looking very, very strong indeed.
Yeah, incredibly strong, and it would be a welcome performance for him, because, like I said, he has not had the best start to the season, really struggled to get those performances on the board, but a top 10 finish, close to a top 5 finish, very welcome at this stage in the championship. So if that trend continues on for Hugveld, then he'll be climbing up the points order in a rather rapid fashion. But I don't think the positions, at least at the very front of the field, are going to change so much in the final 10 seconds that we have on the clock and the run towards the start-finish line. It might just be another race win on the board for Tim Yarshall.
Yeah, Tim Yarshall rounding the final couple of corners now. 0.7 of a second clear of Kevin Siggy. Now 1 corner to negotiate. He will become a 2-time race winner for this season and extend his championship lead. There it is. There's the fist bump. You can tell he's happy. And well, there it is. Tim Yarshall is a winner once again. The last time he won was the 2nd race of the season. He's been so consistent. Every single race he has been in the top 5. And well, he's just added another race victory to that. Kevin Siggy will finish in 2nd. I think he also has the fastest lap of the race. Yes, he does, with a 17.194. Wisniewski is in 3rd. Yuyovski in 4th. And we've got Jeffrey Rietveld in 5th. My driver of the day, though, Christopher Hugveld, finishing in 6th position, considering he was P32 in the championship coming into today, out of 32. Marcel Shinshik is in 7th. Jack Keithley in 8th. Then we've got Jacob Brzezinski in 9th position, and then Isaac Price in that 10th spot. Marko Pajic for Veloce Esports is in 11th. Ottaviani for R8G is in 12th. We've got Kripner, Falcon in 13th. Fiducci for Veloce in 14th position as well. We then have got ourselves Lucas Muller in Falcon Sim Racing in 15th. Sheehan for Fordzilla in 16th. Gillison for Ferrari in 17th. Delorme, CMT, Go Team Racing in 18th. Mitchell in 19th for NeedRacing.com. Yuri Toma for R8G is in P20. And our final set of drivers, Ben Spanky for Der Esports is in 21st. Rudinger is in 22nd. Hasser, 23rd. Benito, 24th position. Drays in 25th, with Neg in 26th. Vermeulen is in 27th. Worley, 28th. Carton in 29th. And then Dominic Blyer in 30th spot. Looks like we have 3 drivers DNF in the end. So there you go, Connery. First race done and dusted. And it's Tim Yarshall once again. Oh, I just a little step up. My camera's gone all funky as well, guys. Let me just try and get that back in. Get a little bit closer. We're gonna sort it. Right. Yeah. It's we've had a 2-week gap, haven't we? And Tim Yarshall's come back and looked just unbelievable once again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a crazy season for him so far. I mean, when we had that first round at the Norris Ring, we thought, okay, this is a bit of an outlier circuit. You know, it's a street circuit, short street circuit, not very complicated. So this is a bit of a wild card race. So really anyone can win. Of course, Yarshall did very well there. So we were thinking, okay, maybe, you know, let's see if he can convert it in the second and third race. And he did. He did. So it wasn't just a fluke that first race. He is seriously driving the wheels off of his car at the moment, and it's really, really impressive to see. You know, especially given his previous performances in other top level sim racing events on RaceRoom. Yes, he was always there, you know, within a shout of the championship, top 5 at least, but never one of those, or at least not often, one of those major protagonists. But he is now, and he looks almost unstoppable.
Yeah, he looks really, really impressive. You know, the second race today is worth a few more points. It's a longer race, 30 minutes long, with a mandatory pit stop bang in the middle as well. So he'll want to try and finish ahead of his championship rivals in Jeffrey Rietveld, Kevin Siggy, Nikodem Wisniewski. But you mentioned I mentioned some of those names. Like, Yarshall is battling with one of those drivers at a minimum every single week and still coming out on top, which is just super, super impressive. Like you said, he has been there or thereabouts on RaceRoom for a while now, but yet to really hit that sort of top tier in terms of consistency, and he very much is there now. Right, let's go check out exactly what the drivers are racing for, because we do have prizes in this championship, and I'm sure you're all excited to see what they are running. And well, as if by magic, we are back in the race server. This is for the second race. They've got an 8-minute qualifying session, and then we do indeed have a 30-minute time race with a mandatory pit stop in between. And hopefully, afterwards, we get to talk to a couple of the drivers. Right, let's do some stats and statistics then. Who's got the most top 10 so far this season? Well, it's Tim Yarshall. He's managed to get himself 8 top 10s now, out of a possible 8. That is including the qualifying round as well. We've got Jeffrey Rietveld, who's managed to get himself 7 of those out of a possible, out of a possible 8 as well. So he's just one off. In terms of pole positions, Tim Yarshall's got 4 out of a possible 7. Will he make it 5 out of a possible 8? They are some pretty good statistics. Who's got the most top 5? Well, it's pretty much Tim Yarshall. We've got a couple of drivers. We've got Nikodem Wisniewski and Kevin Siggy, both got themselves 4 top 3s. And in terms of race wins, there are 2 drivers that have managed to get themselves 2 race wins during the season. Only 2 of them have managed. Sorry, there's 3. There's 2 of them that have managed to get them in the main championship. That is Tim Yarshall and Nikodem Wisniewski. And Kevin Siggy's got a race win in the qualifying round and a race win in race number 4 of the season.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. It's great to get the update in terms of the statistics that we've already been able to get out of the opening portion of this season. Of course, we still got one more race to go. One more race to go today. We got many more races to go before we hit the back end of this season. We have noticed that the car levels are very low, so we'll just boost those up just a little bit there. So, but yeah, it's it's great seeing everyone so close. Like I said, before, this is perhaps one of the closest championships that we've seen potentially on RaceRoom in terms of car speed, not in terms of the standings at the moment, because we all know how good Yarshall's doing, but in terms of how close everyone is in terms of qualifying times, this is where it's at least in terms of sim racing. So that just makes what Yarshall has done even more impressive, if you ask me. But of course, we have this second race coming up, race number 2. mandatory pit stop involved in this one as well. We have that strategy element to this one. Potentially, if Siggy gets a similarly good qualifying performance here, he might be able to challenge in some form of strategy call, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, this race is always very interesting. It's, you know, is staying out the better play, is coming in early the better play. I think today's going to be coming in early because track position is absolutely vital. We didn't see many overtakes. We saw Ottaviani make an overtake, and then that checked the field up, and then it was just absolute bedlam behind. But yeah, making an overtake cost you so much time. Qualifying is absolutely vital. I think, yeah, you might even see drivers pit as soon as the pit window opens. If they figure they can get like a safe window where they get clear track, then they will decide to do that. I think that will probably be the best idea for drivers, especially if you're battling for the lead position. But I've been wrong before many a time, and I'm sure I'll be wrong again. But yeah, interesting stuff here. A little bit longer race, a little bit short qualifying, a mandatory pit stop to deal with, and also more points on the line. So Tim Yarshall with a massive opportunity here to not only go out with extending his championship lead, but could extend it big time.
Yeah. It's as I said. I mean, there's only so many ways we can say that Yarshall's done well this season. So perhaps we should maybe give attention to you know, a couple of the other drivers. You know, Rietveld's done very well so far this season. Of course, maybe not in this particular race, but the start of the season certainly went very well for him. We've seen Lona with his amazing sort of not last to first challenges, but you know, effectively so in race ones. But of course, he's not taking part here today, which will certainly affect him absolutely massively.
Yeah, well, let's go and check out some of the highlights from the last rounds we had while we have the outlaps in qualifying, and then you can see exactly what this mandatory pit stop gave us. Up to the line we go. We are green light racing. I'll tell you what, Panucci has got an absolute flyer up the inside here. Down then towards turn number 1. Rietveld into number 69 has the inside line through turn number 1. And I tell you what, Fiducci here, he might have a run. Oh, there's a big spin. Blyer and Siggy were side by side. They were touching there. I think Tim Yarshall now has got ahead of both of those two. They've managed to save it. They are not facing the wrong way. But Gianmarco Fiducci from 5th is up to 2nd. What a start in that BMW. This might be the last lap, it might not be the last lap. Jeffrey Rietveld is about to come across the line. And wow, is there one more lap to go? It's going to be bang on the 0. And there we go. That is the checkered flag there. Congratulations to Jeffrey Rietveld. That was bang on 0, that was, by the way. Fiducci is going to finish in 2nd spot. You've then got Enzo Benito who's going to finish in 3rd there.
Here we go then. Green flag here in race 2. In the DTM Esports Pro Championship, charging our way down in towards turn number 1 here. It looks like it's going to be a big challenge for Wisniewski in a side-by-side battle at the very front of the field to try and get that, try and maintain that P1. It's a big stack up behind, big wreck indeed as well. Multiple drivers involved in this as they all try to stack up, heading their way through there. A little bit of a mess. Cars off for the circuit as well. Julian Kunze, Enzo Benito is involved in this one as he's down towards the very last place at this point as well. Dominic Blyer has had another poor start, caught up in that instant as well. He's down towards P26 here at the moment. There's Leon Rudinger involved in a little bit of a battle here with Leandro Verla. So the Pranav in the chat that wanted to see Leandro Verla on the screen, well, you've got him, and he's in fact involved in a bit of a battle with Rudiger here at the moment. Isaac Price in the G2 Esports Porsche on the outside looking into this one as well. Fiducci is one that got caught up in the instant as well. Oh no! Isaac Price spun around in front of traffic, stacks everyone else up behind. We got 3 wide back there in some form or fashion. It's been a very, very scrappy race for a lot of drivers here involved. Yarshall not able to keep up with them. Oh, Ottaviani. Ottaviani's dropping down the order, and Ottaviani is out in the grass.
Tim Yarshall is actually going to lose out here big time, and Jeffrey Rietveld is closing right up onto the back of Nikodem Wisniewski. And wow, Tim Yarshall nearly lost out to Kevin Siggy.
Well, 3 seconds left on the clock, and Wisniewski's through the final corner here, Luke.
It certainly is, and well, it's been a very impressive display from Nikodem. Had a bit of a mistake or got involved in an altercation in race number 1. He's had a DNF this season, but I tell you what, his form is that of Tim Yarshall. to be completely honest. If he didn't have that DNF and didn't have that incident, I think maybe we would be talking about a very close battle between the front two. It is a race victory here then for our 6th race of the season. Well, there you go. That was the loudest ring, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for the Saxon ring, and it is time for qualifying. And look who is at the pole position spot. It's Tim Yarshall once again looking to close out the pole position award. And well, it is Jeffrey Revo's just moved up into second, but look at the gaps. It was only hundredths of a second. A tenth and a half this time around. Tim Yarshall, who's actually also on another flying lap. This is a massive performance.
Yeah, 1:16.8 at the moment, 1:16.828 to be exact, because, you know, you never know, might be at the end of the session where the actual further decimal places of precision might actually matter. But Yarshall coming out of the final corner now, already almost half a tenth up on his previous best. Let's see what it's like coming across the line. Looks like he just abandons it before he gets to the line. So even that good lap was not good enough for Yarshall, as he'll get himself back out there. No one else really. I mean, I'd say that Wisniewski just set a purple sector 1 with 26 hundredths of a second faster than Yarshall's effort. So it doesn't seem to be too insurmountable at the moment. But what a lap time to be setting in the first bit of this qualifying, and now we're in the final couple of minutes. That's the baseline that everyone's trying to chase at the moment.
Yeah, Wisniewski probably needs a big lap time here. We're about to see the second sector. Oh, there it is. So currently 4.5 hundredths quicker than he's been before. This will be good enough to maybe grab himself, well, one position. Not even going to be more than one position really as it stands, and needs something mega if he is to improve. You've got Jeffrey Rietveld, who is green in P3 as it stands. Tim Yarshall, even though everyone's going faster, Shinchik's gone up to second. Even though people are going faster, Tim Yarshall, who is pole already, is still going quicker. Wisniewski, well, I tell you what, I couldn't have been much more wrong there. Wisniewski just gone up to the front row of the grid. So I thought he was going to gain one spot, but he's absolutely smashed it here. Marcel Shinchik's on a flyer. Tim Yarshall has just gone beyond the track limits with 1 minute 57 seconds to go. So really only one more opportunity. Marcel Shinchik is quicker once again. He might be able to find some extra time. But what about Kevin Siggy? What about Jeffrey Rietveld? Those two drivers specifically, considering how hard it is to overtake, need something right now.
Yep, they absolutely do. That's not a good enough sector 2 for Shinchik, unfortunately. Wouldn't be surprised if he takes the toe back to the starting point at this stage, because he might just be able to get one in. But no, he is continuing on with this lap. I don't think
he restarted. No, he restarted.
It says he's on a lap.
No, he definitely restarted. For sure. I saw him reappear at the back there, so I don't know what's going on here. I reckon if you changed on board with someone else and then go back to him, it will say that he started a new one. Although, no, it said he was a tenth of a second. I think it's just, yeah, it was a bit weird there. He definitely started a new lap.
Okay, there we go. Well, one more attempt there for Shinchik. Yarshall, though, he's going even faster. 200ths of a second up through sector 1. It's fantastic stuff for Yarshall, although track limits again. He's going to take the toe. He's not going to be able to get back out there.
Marcel Shinchik, though, is on a flying lap. Where is Jeffrey Rietveld, though? I think he might be done, actually.
Done.
And where is Kevin Siggy? Where are those two on their lap? Well, they're done as well. So right now, then, it is on Marcel Shinchik to find that extra bit of time to maybe move up the order. Marcel Shinchik's results so far this season have been so indifferent. He's managed to get a race win, by the way, the first winner of the season. And his qualifying is going to be over. Then it's a 9th position, a 20th position, an 8th position, a 21st, and a 26th position. So it's, yeah, Marcel Shinchik's got it in his arsenal to go out there and win races, but unfortunately it's just not happened. But that pesky Tim Yarshall, again, picking up yet another pole position, and that will make it 5 for the season. He's currently 4 clear of absolutely everybody, and if anybody wants to tie him for the lead of the pole position award this season, they have to get pole in every race remaining in the season.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. As it was a 31 hundredths of a second advantage, 31 thousandths, excuse me, for Yarshall in that one, and of course Shinchik coming up in 3rd place there in that particular instance. But yeah, surprising. Kevin Siggy down in 5th place to start here in this one. So not where we're, well, I mean, not the lofty heights of the front 3 in that first qualifying session, but But we'll have to see how well he's able to work his way through from there. He certainly seems to have the pace. He was keeping with Tim Yarshall throughout the vast majority of that previous event. However, with starting a little bit further back in this qualifying session, it might just allow Yarshall to get away if Yarshall gets a good start.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be very surprised if we don't see someone like Kevin Siggy bringing that car into the pits as soon as that pit window opens. I think track position is much more valuable than the tyre wear on this circuit. It's so difficult to make an overtake around here if you keep hitting the right lines. So I expect to see, the likes of Kevin Siggy, maybe even Jeffrey Reeveld, just bring the car in really, really early. Because they have to try something new here. They cannot afford Tim Yarshall to come away from this race week with 2 victories. I think it's Tim Yarshall's to lose then. I think I find it very difficult for anybody to go out there and beat Tim Yarshall, because he really only needs to then get 4 sets of top 5s, and he's the only driver who's not been outside the top 5 yet this season. So yeah, big race here, big ask for anybody to beat Tim Yarshall. But I think if you are Wisniewski, if you are Rietveld, if you're Kevin Siggy, it is a minimum requirement. They have to beat him now.
Yeah, there's no other choice. There is absolutely no other choice. If you're Wisniewski at the moment, if you're Siggy, if you're anyone inside of those top couple of grid positions, you need to be attacking on this first lap as much as possible. Try and get up in Yarshall's face. Try and at least gain some form of track position over him in the early stages. I mean, we've seen him slide back through the field before, at least losing 1 or 2 spots in previous races. So he's not absolutely perfect on his starts. Maybe that's something that the drivers can leverage here in this one, just to try and get some form of advantage. Because if you have that little bit of leverage, then that's something you can work with. But if you don't, and you really allow him to get away at the front, then you're really going to be struggling, because he is so quick in clear air.
100%. Right, we've got ourselves a formation lap here. We are partnered with Cupra, as the DTM is. First time ever on RaceRoom that we have got a safety car formation start this season, which is nice to see. I think it's the first time today. It's the first time this season we've had it. Again, that sounds like it's the first race. No, the whole season we've had it. First time it's ever happened. Christ, trying to get words out, very difficult. But yeah, Tim Yarshall will take us away from that pole position spot. He's got someone new on the front row of the grid. Nikodem Wisniewski started 3rd in the previous race and got shuffled down the order. We've then got Marcel Schinschik, Rietveld, Siggy and Isaac Price at the front end. Isaac Price there with the top 6. What about Christopher Hugveld? Okay, yeah, he's P10, so another really good performance there from Hugveld, and maybe a week-defining couple of races for his championship, to be honest. Obviously, he's not going to win the championship, we know that, but to get yourself off the foot of the table, get yourself some big points, get a confidence, there's maybe an opportunity now to try and chase that top 20.
Yeah, that's a great goal. Of course, every single driver in this field will have their own goal. Okay, so that not every driver in this field is going to be expecting to win this, even before the season. So they'll have their own expectations, be it top 20, be it top 10. That they're going to be chasing for, and that is, it's just as valid as going for the championship, of course. With the top 5 or so, which have that as their particular goal. But for some of these drivers that may have just gone in by the skin of their teeth in the qualifying, in the shootout procedure, they're just here to have a good time and see how far up the field they can get. And there's also obviously that prize for finishing as cleanly as possible in all of these races too.
Yeah, you win yourself a cheeky little e-scooter if you are one of the cleaner drivers, and I think it's a little bit more difficult to do it around the back end of the grid, if I'm completely honest. But it remains to be seen who wins out on that one. So the pace car is going to come in. The safety car, the Cupra safety car, will bring themselves into the pits, and now it is Tim Yarshall and Nikodem Wisniewski to take us away in towards turn number 1. This is the 30-minute feature race. We've got ourselves a pit window during this as well, where they have to change all 4 tyres, and we are off and we are running down towards turn number 1. And I tell you what, Nikodem Wisniewski has got an absolute flyer, and by the time we come through turn number 1, I think he probably could have got across the bonnet there of Yarshall. As you see a spin in the background then, that is one of the R8G cars. I think it might be Erhan Yayovsky and Marcel Schinschik, isn't it? Schinschik, who had such a good qualifying, unfortunately finds himself massively down the order. Done so well today in his second qualifying session, considering how bad his championship's gone from being our first race winner of the season, and ultimately it is continuing to go sour. But Nikodem Wisniewski, I challenged him. He had to go out there and win this race, had to go out there and get ahead of Tim Yarshall. He's done exactly that into the first corner.
Yeah, perfect stuff from the G2 Esports Porsche at the front of the field, getting ahead of Yarshel. I mean, I was saying this exactly before the race, wasn't I? Yarshel needed to be attacked at the very start on the opening portion of the race, and Wisniewski is the one that got the good launch off of the start, able to beat Wisniewski down in, able to beat Yarshel down in towards turn number 1, and now has almost 0.4 of a second advantage already. So a perfect start for the pole. But coming across the line now, Yarshel following in close behind, Rietveld up there and fighting as well. So it's not Siggy in terms of a red line podium runner at the moment. It is Jeffrey Rietveld instead in the Audi in 3rd place.
Yeah, and that's kind of really the story of Team Redline this season. They've had multiple drivers kind of taking points off each other. Whereas you look at Focus in Racing, Tim Yarshel just being the standout driver, picking up performance after performance. Nikodem Wisniewski's been that driver for a G2 as well, right? And then the rest of the teams kind of don't really have too many other drivers in the championship, a lot of solo participants. But the Redline drivers have all been taking points off each other. Even Enzo's been getting involved with Jeffrey and Kevin at previous rounds, dealing points away. So it's great having more than one driver in the championship, but it can have a detrimental effect on your championship as well. As we head then down towards the final couple of corners for our 2nd or 3rd lap of the race, shall I say, including the formation lap. It is Nikodem Wisniewski that leads the way, a nice 0.4 of a second gap then to Tim Yarshel. Jeffrey Rietveld will have to do something during this race to get that moved on Tim Yarshel. I feel like if he wants to win this championship, he has to finish ahead of him. Same story could be said for Kevin Siggy. Kevin Siggy has got Isaac Price between them as well. So Isaac currently in 4th spot. And looking through his performances so far this season, he's had 2 5th positions, and then he's had a 21st, a 10th, a 31st, and a 15th. This will be his best position so far this season in the race. Yeah,
great stuff from Price, as we saw at the second race at the Lausitz, him getting spun in front of traffic and causing a big stack up, and wasn't able to come away with a decent result at the end of that race. But it's good to see him solidly inside the top 5, of course. As his teammates currently leading the race in the G2 Esports outfit, so it's pretty good going for that particular team at the moment. Of course, we've got the 2 Redline cars of Siggy and Rietveld, 3-3 and P5 as well. So the odd one out there, really, Tim Yarshel. He has no friends at the front of the field at this moment in time. He's the only Falcon car there, and that can be a very tricky situation.
Yeah, but he doesn't need any friends the way he's been driving this season. He's not needed anyone to help him out, to be honest. He's been that good. Isaac Price is going to do Nikodem Wisniewski as many favours as possible. But Isaac Price cannot win this championship, and he will try his best to hold Kevin Siggy up. Again, in, well, what about 2.5 minutes time? We're going to see that pit window open. 1.5 minutes time, we're going to see that pit window open. And I would be very surprised if we don't see a couple of those leaders bring that car in very early. I wonder if even Jeffrey might make that call to do it early during this race. Maybe Isaac will try and do it to try and get ahead of one more Redline car, maybe try and get ahead of Tim Yarshel. Look how close they are. There's a big mistake there from Tim Yarshel. Has the door open, though, for Jeffrey Rietveld? No, it has not. It's such a technical part of the circuit, and there really is only one line through there. A little bit squirrely on the exit. Power going down a touch too early. And ultimately, the big winner there is Nikodem Wisniewski. The gap now out to 0.5 second. Jeffrey Rietveld not quite close enough to take advantage.
Yeah, the window opens in about a minute. So, it's we may see some very early calls here to come down in just as that window opens, like we've already discussed, to try and get the track position, try and get into clear air. If you feel like you're stuck behind a driver at the moment, it doesn't just go for these front guys, but in the mid-pack as well, you might be tempted to come down in and take the early stop, get into some clear air, what you hope to be clear air, and then run your own lap times, get ahead of your opponents on the strategy, on the what is effectively an undercut there. But as we're heading up towards the final couple of corners, these guys won't be able to come down in this lap. 20 seconds still left before the pit window opens, so maybe the front half of the field can't come down in at this point, but maybe the back half can on this lap.
Yeah, there'll be a couple of drivers a bit further back, but I think they might be a bit far off to really affect the race, to be completely honest, as his pit window still isn't even open. And actually, I think the whole field, by the time we get past the start finish line, would have decided not to have come in, maybe 1 or 2. But there we go, 1 or 2 have. So Mitchell has come in, and Fiducci have decided to come in early in this race. So we'll have to keep an eye out and see whether that makes too much of a difference. Wisniewski has been caught once again. Front 5 separated by absolutely nothing. This is a key lap here right now, so if you're watching at home, we have 1 pit window in this race, where they have to change all 4 tyres, all 4 wheels and tyres on their cars. And I believe, and I think Connery is agreeing with me on this one, that track position is much more vital than having fresh tyres. So coming in early and then trying to run clean laps on your own is probably the best play. And we're about to find out as to whether we're right on that one. We're coming around the final couple of corners. And are we going to see any of our front 5 bring the car into the pit?
We will see in a couple of moments. Here we go. In towards that final sector now as you swing your way through back up the hill. It's great with the elevation change here at the Sachsenring, and we are seeing drivers come down and in. Actually, Yarshel coming down and in. There we go. Same with Jeffrey Rietveld in behind. So those are the early calls. And so Wisniewski leading this race. Then it's Price in second. Siggy stayed out there. But there's a big call from Yarshel to come down in now.
This was a really good stop, by the way, by Rietveld. Jeffrey's stop was a little bit quicker in terms of getting into the pit stall. So I will be very interested to see how this plays out. Let's stay on board with Jeffrey. He's obviously going to be going a little bit quicker than Tim Yarshel. But I think that there might be a run here or an opportunity at an overtake. Here we go. So he gets going, and then you're going to see that Porsche drop. Has he got him? Oh, look how close it is. It is very, very close. The gap has come down a little bit, but it just looked like a better stop into the pit stall from Jeffrey Rietveld. They will get back up into full speed. They will both come out with no one really to mess with. Tim Yarshel's got the dream here. Clear air, nothing really to be too worried about, whereas Jeffrey Rietveld is still stuck behind another car. And I'd be very surprised now if Nikodem doesn't cover this. I think he'll cover this, and then it might be a case of Kevin Siggy brings the car in as well. And Isaac then goes for something different and tries to have fresh rubber for the later stages of this race. If you're in the front 5 and you want to try and win this race, you've got to try and do something a little bit different. Into the pits then for Nikodem Wisniewski. No, Isaac's into the pits as well, and so is Kevin. Interesting to see as to whether this changes up the format or the formation of our drivers. And I tell you what, Connor, it's not often we're both right, but we're bang on here with our prediction.
Yeah, so the thing is, I was very interested to see whether or not Redline and G2 actually split the strategy with their 2 drivers here in this situation, but that seemingly is not the case. They've brought, they've done a very similar system with the both of them just pitting them 1 lap apart. So they seem pretty confident in that pitting the earliest is the best course of action here. For those in the mid-pack, though, their strategy is a little bit more free. Shall we say, because they can gamble, they can stay out really, really long and see where they end up and then try and make some progress on the fresher tyres. Here comes Tim Yarshel coming across the start-finish line now. There's the G2 Esports car further down the road as Yarshel just about, gets himself ahead of those 2 cars coming off the pit lane, but not ahead of Wisniewski though.
Yeah, but look at Siggy. Siggy got Isaac Price. That was a massive pit entry for Kevin Siggy. Had to get that job done. He's now behind his teammates, so they've got to work together now, and they don't really need to be too worried about Nikodem Wisniewski. It really is vital that they both get ahead of that Porsche, the Falcon Sim Racing Porsche, to close that championship lead going into the final 4 races of the season. Job 1 done then for Kevin Siggy. He had to find himself ahead of Isaac Price at some point, and whether it be done on track or via the pits, it's done via strategy, it's done via the pit lane, and now off to chase down our championship leader.
So Dominic Blyer in from the front of the field as well. Müller, Hugfeld, Benito, Rudinger, Hasse, Brzezinski all staying out at this stage, and I would, that's their prerogative, shall we say. So we might have a little bit of a weird situation where the main battle what we're looking at is a little bit more towards the mid-pack here once all of those pit stop cycles cycled themselves through. But yeah, that was... a big stop indeed for the Red Line folks, and it seems like they've been able to benefit out of it. Right now, though, what's the plan regarding Yarshel, though? That's the situation, because now they have very minimal advantage in terms of the stops, in terms of fresh tyres versus older tyres. That's not going to be a factor here. It's just a straight up kind of like the sprint race all the way to the end of the race now. Yeah, well, Yarshel, he doesn't need a plan, does he? He's good to go. Just stay where you are and you're all golden. It's really the Red Line drivers. It's those 2. It is Jeffrey Rietveld and Kevin Siggy. They have to go and chase down Yarshel and have to make an overtake. I'm just wondering now, how easy is Jeffrey taking it? Is it a case of you need to save something for the end of this race? Don't push it now. Don't try and get ahead now. And then pounce later on when the tyres really are struggling. Because we saw in the first race that people were getting squirrely near the end. People were losing it out of turn number 1 specifically. So it's
maybe about just being a touch careful and then really attacking later on in this race. I will say one thing, Nikodem Wisniewski's stop was incredible because him and Yarshall, when the pit stop phase started, were pretty much bumper to bumper, and he's pulled out a gap now of about, well, nearly a second. So really nice stuff there from Wisniewski, and also showing that he is one of the form drivers in this championship, if not the form driver. Again, proving that he is super, super strong, and he would become the second driver to have 3 race wins in a season.
Words, 4th place in the standings coming into today, and of course with the opponents further up the table being so close. I mean, Siggy was only 6 points ahead of him coming into this race day, and Riedel just a couple more than that. This is looking pretty good for Wisniewski in this situation, in this midpoint of the season. Whether or not he's doing quite enough to really challenge Yarshall, that will still remain to be seen. Yes, he's gaining a couple of points over him in this race if they finish as they are right now, but even second place is all the way to the end of the season is going to still be mean that Yarshall will take this one and by quite a margin. So it just needs to be a little bit more, but really the situation is kind of out of Wisniewski's hands in this situation, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it certainly is. Unfortunately, you know, he just needs. Well, he's just got to keep going out there and doing what he's doing. Keep going out there, winning races, and you've really got nothing to worry about. Then you've done your best. You know, it's going to come down to those 2 race results where he had a DNF and he finished in P22. Those 2 are going to have absolutely killed his chances, but he's still in the hunt. He can go out there and, you know, win 3 out of maybe the last 4. There is an opportunity for him to go out there and win. Look at the gap though, closing between P2 and now P3. Jeffrey Rietveld getting those tyres up to their optimum temperature, now working his way towards that Porsche in front, dragging Kevin Siggy along. They've actually started to maybe drop Isaac Price ever so slightly, and I think Yarshall in turn is probably catching up to Wisniewski. He's very close at the front here, the front 4 with 15 minutes to go, separated by very little. S1, this game is RaceRoom, racing experience, and you can go get it on Steam.
Yep, and of course the base package is free to play as well. So if you do want to try what the sim is like, there is a base content package, and you drive around a bit, see if it's for your liking, and then of course any additional cars, then you'll have to buy the content packs. And speaking of, there is a DTM car pack that you can buy as well. So if you do like RaceRoom, you've tried the sort of the free content version, and you do want to invest a little bit of cash into it, and you like these cars, then you can buy that DTM car pack, and you'll get all of these lovely, lovely machines.
If you like content, RaceRoom is the sim for you. Oh my, there is content of newer racing series, older racing series, like proper classic racing series. Got so many different racing circuits that you'll never find on any other sim, so definitely check it out. And as Connery just mentioned, it is free. It is free. Get yourself involved. There is a base content line which you can get involved in. Those involved. There we go. I see a potential move then from Benson Banky. Sends one up the inside of Delorme. And well, there's a little bit of a high five at the exit. I think Delorme's trying to keep that nose involved. The 3 BMWs are all fighting for that one bit of real estate. There's a move then from Benson Banky up to P18 and off to chase down Mitchell.
Yep, great stuff from Banky. Making very, very good forward progress here. Of course, these BMWs have really, really struggled today here at the Sachsenring. It's not been the circuit for them. Let's just say that, and it is a struggle coming into these races. If you don't quite have the equipment to work with, it's sort of like banging your head against a brick wall. You just have to try and do as well as you can, and forget about these races basically, and then hope for a race a bit later on in the season where the car track combo that you have is better than your opponents. And it's the same sort of situation for those in the Ferraris here at the moment as well, although we do of course have representatives from Ferrari Esports here who don't necessarily really have a choice about which car they run. They kind of have to run the Ferrari, contractually obliged to run it because of the team. So I mean, I guess that makes their decision easy coming into this season, but I imagine if they're in situations like this where the bounce performance means that potentially they're not quite as good at some of these circuits, it can be a little frustrating.
No, definitely agree with you more there. Fastest lap award is currently going to Jeffrey Rietveld as well, so Kevin Siggy got it in race 1. Jeffrey Rietveld looking like he's going to get it in race number 2. I think they've gone beyond the tyre life now where they can go faster. I think it's now all about consolidation. maybe trying to save something for an overtake at the end, not necessarily going fast at that pace. The gap between the front two very much is closing down, similarly to what we saw in the first stint during this race. And do those two Audis have the potential pace to maybe close up and have a fight for this lead? Right now, it's looking very good. Wisniewski is looking very good for Tim Yarshall, and those two, I believe, by the time we come to the end of this race weekend, will be the two at the top of the points table.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the mathematics works out in terms of that one, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, although seeing Rietveld still gets inside the personal space of Yarshall at the moment. Not close enough to threaten, but close enough to be a worry that you know, Yarshall might have, looking in his rear view and wing mirrors, seeing that red line Audi bigger than potentially he's comfortable with. And you know, that little distraction can affect a driver. Of course, you know, with a driver with the experience of Yarshall, for example, potentially a little bit less so, but you're going to try and use every single one of these little advantages when you're in situations like this, because, again, the lap times are just so close.
Love that. He's in his personal space. I put it better myself. And actually, if anything, he's given the hurry up there to Yarshall. Yarshall has started to close the gap down to Wisniewski once again. But right now, for Jeffrey Rietveld, you just need to get close to Yarshall. Don't worry about Nikodem Wisniewski. Do not worry about him. Try and get yourself involved in a battle with Yarshall up ahead, and you know, maybe the tyres go off for the Porsche in front significantly enough that you can go for the race lead, but you need to finish ahead of Yarshall. It is as simple as that. You need to take points off of him moving towards the latter stages of this championship, and maybe if you get involved, there's an opportunity for your teammate Kevin to follow through if it's a feisty battle. I don't see, if there is an opportunity for P2, I do not see them being close enough to Nikodem by the end of that battle. I think they're going to lose so much time with it. It's just such a difficult race to overtake that Nikodem will get a bit of a freebie here. So the perfect scenario right now for Tim would be that he gets involved with Nikodem. Then the perfect scenario for Kevin and Jeffrey is that they slow each other down so much that it becomes a real four-way battle, too wide everywhere around this circuit, and opportunities may open up that way. But as it stands, probably in a bit of a train formation to the end.
That's what's going to happen in all likelihood, but it only requires one little mistake, one little error somewhere on this circuit for that opportunity to open up, and that goes for any of these drivers here at the moment. Of course, Yarshall will continue to try and apply the pressure to the effective race leader. Rietveld still on the outside looking in, see if he can try and affect things somewhat in the back end of this race as well. But yeah, right now the status quo is being maintained amongst these drivers at the very front of the field, and so we're not expecting you know, things to massively change without a little bit of a problem for one of them. But yeah, those gaps just fluctuating in and out at the moment. We're seeing Florian Hasse and Enzo Benito come down on towards the safety of pit lane. Of course, Benito having a tricky time here in this one after not completing a lap time in qualifying. He had to start at the very rear end of race 1, and then here in race number 2, still solidly mid-pack as you see those cars stream on his right-hand side there. That's a little bit disconcerting to see. Let's see where he comes out in relation to everyone else. Is it ahead behind Rudinger and Hasse? Well, straight out into a battle with Rudinger there, as he's just about able to get ahead. No, they'll continue on the side-by-side battle for the first second.
Yeah, they've been battling, feels like, for both races, Leon Rudinger and Enzo Benito, and I think Rudinger may just about to be able to come out on top. Although Rudiger sweeping left-hander, Enzo Benito just about has that inside line, but Rudinger is going to hang this BMW around the outside, and actually with the momentum, get that position nailed. Yeah, the overlap now disappearing. Leon Rudinger will take that freebie effectively in the end. Nice little battle between the two drivers, then just still trying to get involved. But his tyres just being a little bit too cold there. Unfortunately puts him under pressure from behind more so than looking to go forward. It's so easy to just overextend with the tyres when they go on the car for the first time, Connery, that you can just slip and slide around. The fact that he managed to stay side by side with Rudiger as long as he did is actually quite impressive. But he will have the fresher tyres of that group around him, and he should start to pick people off.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of picking people off, Florian Hasse able to get through on Mihai Neg. So it's you know, those fresher tyres really going to be coming into their full effect at this stage for those drivers that have decided not to pit the first time I'm asking, and actually the pit window is closed here at the moment, and I can confirm everyone has been able to work their way into the pit lane at some point over the course of this race, so no unnecessary penalties being given out in the case of that. But we have 7 minutes to go. There's the front four on your screen right now. Wisniewski, Yarshall, Rietveld, Siggy, all within the same postcode here, but no threats of moves being made just yet here. But time is starting to run out for these drivers. You're going to have to try and lean on things a little bit if you're wanting to go chasing for positions now, get those quali laps in, or those quali equivalent laps in, and hope you don't burn up the tyres at the end.
Yeah, one way of guaranteeing yourself a comment being read out on YouTube is to say nice things about the commentary team. We've got here Jack saying, hi from New Jersey, just want to say I love your content and commentary. Keep up the good work and thanks for bringing us the coverage. It's our pleasure, I can assure you of that. Right, down towards turn number one we go. It's still Nikodem Wisniewski leading the way, 6/10 clear of Tim Yarshall. Jeffrey Rietveld just in behind, and then Kevin Siggy merely a couple of tenths behind them as well. It has been this order since the exit of turn number one. Hasn't really changed even with a pit stop in this race. Isaac Price then just falling a little bit off this group, but performing extremely well is Isaac Price. In terms of his best performances so far this season, he's already got 2 P5s, got 21st, a 10th, 31st and a 15th. So this would be a return to form, if you like, for Isaac Price, and I think he'll be relatively happy with how it's gone down. He's not really under any pressure from behind. Krippner finds himself about 2 and a bit seconds off of Isaac Price. But Tim Yarshall currently in second spot, P1 in race number one. It's looking like a P2 in race number two. This is championship winning form.
It really is. There's no other way to say it for the Falcon Porsche. This is exactly where you want to be over the course of the season. Not having to worry necessarily about taking race wins. You know, getting podiums, more than enough for Yarshall to get the championship win here. And it feels weird talking about that, even though we're at the halfway point of the season. It's been that dominant of a display from Yarshall that's been the reality that we have to start talking about now, unless there's something absolutely catastrophic that happens. But under normal circumstances, you know, Yarshall is well on his way.
Yeah, no one wants to see a championship just over the halfway point of the season. That's not no one signed up for that. Well, I guess the drivers sign up for that. They'd love that to be the case. But sometimes you've just got to celebrate a driver being exceptional, and Tim Yarshall's being exactly that. We've sort of touched on it a couple of times across this season, where Yarshall's been there or thereabouts on the race room scene for a long time now, 3 or 4 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. But realistically, has been kind of in that second tier of driver. You know, if the top tier drivers have an issue, he was the sort of driver that could take advantage and maybe go and get a race win. But in terms of outright pace, maybe you'd say he was lacking a touch there, and maybe it wasn't even that. It was just consistency that was lacking. But everything has come together now. He's a little bit older, he's a little bit more mature as a sim racer now, and we are seeing the very best of him. Currently 5/10 of a second behind Wisniewski, and the maturity levels that he's at right now, I'm not sure even if he gets an opportunity, he will try and make a move. I think he'd be happy with a P2. A win and a P2, you know, if you offered him that for the rest of the season, he wins a championship. It really is as simple as that. I think if you offered him 4 P5s now, between now and the end of the season, or maybe he wouldn't take it, but I think he'd be relatively happy with it because he's done the hard work so early in this championship. Nikodem Wisniewski, though, is our race leader, looking to take his 3rd race victory of the season. Tim Yarshall looking to take his 3rd race victory of the season as well. And you've got Jeffrey Rietveld, finds himself currently 2nd in the championship. He's looking to take his 2nd race win of the season. And you've got Kevin Siggy, who's looking to take his 3rd race win of the season. Realistically, these are the 4. It's been about these 4 for a good few weeks now. And as we head into the final 4 rounds of the season, it will continue to be about these 4.
In the back end of the season, Yarshall needs to be 100% certain that he's going to be finishing these races, because it only takes one bad race day, potentially just one bad race number one, where the tide will start to turn. So he still has to be very careful here. He can't just drive just like he's already won the championship, because he definitely hasn't. Again, 1, maybe 2 poor results. Finishing bottom end of the top 10, maybe even bottom end of the top 20. that's when it starts to get a little bit concerning, especially if the likes of Wisniewski, Rietveld, Siggy all get good finishes in a race where that happens. So he can't get complacent at this stage. He needs to put in the same amount of practice for every single week as he's been doing up until this point. He's got to make sure he's on the top form, making sure he's keeping his nose clean, because if there is an incident that happens, then he will have the buffer to be able to work with. But right now he doesn't quite have enough of a buffer to have to cover off one very poor race day.
Yeah, 100%. And just to put into perspective how good he's been in terms of consistency, every single driver's had pretty much one bad result, and that's why they are not ahead of Tim Yarshall. Yarshall's finished second, first, fourth, second, fifth, and third coming into this weekend. Jeffrey Rietveld, his first race was P21, and he's done fifth, third, seventh, first, second. Jeffrey Rietveld, who was second coming into today, has had that one bad race result. Kevin Siggy was 15th, third, did not finish. First, third, fourth. So he's had two bad race results. At least he managed to get some points with the 15th position finish. So, you know, it does come down to that. And then you've got Nikodem Wisniewski, who's winning this race. We head on to the final lap of today's race, leading this race. He got a fourth, but a DNF, a first, a third, a 22nd, and a first. Nikodem Wisniewski, probably in terms of outright raw pace, is the strongest driver in the championship as it stands. But those two bad races is going to cost him. Tim Yarshall right now, I'm not sure he's happy with P2. It looked like he was very much looking to fight into turn number one there on Nikodem Wisniewski. Has Wisniewski bent his tyres? I believe this is the final lap of the race. It's again going to be seconds between whether it's the final lap or not. Nikodem Wisniewski under some severe pressure right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This might get a little bit spicy here for the end of this race. The big main overtaking opportunity has come and gone, but it's not impossible to get alongside a little bit in the back end of this lap. You can see Wisniewski, we're going to get his last name right at some point. He's laser focused on what's going on ahead of him at the moment, making sure he's clipping every single one of these apexes, making sure that he's not going to have a moment at the very end of this race. You can see one of the lapped cars actually get themselves out of the way as these guys are coming towards the end of the lap and the end of the race.
Yeah, final corner then for these drivers. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last lap of the race. Hopefully we'll see with a little bit of a reaction from Nikodem Wisniewski as to whether it is as we cross the line then, and it is going to be the final lap, and it is another race victory then for Wisniewski. The fist pump is a plenty as Tim Yarshall finishes in second, Rietveld in third, Kevin Siggy in fourth, and those are the four that are going to be challenging for this title heading into the final few rounds, or the final four races of the season. Isaac Price equaling his best finish so far this season. Leonard Krippner, his best finish was 8th so far this season. He managed to get a 6th position. Emre Cihan, that's his best finish of the season as well. 7th, he got 9th previously. Marko Pajic with a top 8. He had previously got a 7th position, but yeah, back to maybe around his best there. Dominic Blyer in 9th. Christopher Hugveld with 2 big points finishes today, considering he came into the championship hunt in 32nd position with only 3 points. He has come out with a massive result in P6 and a P10 for the Swedish driver. Our next 10 drivers then is going to be Mitchell and Bentzbanki, Paducci and Muller. We then have Keithley and Toman, Ottaviani and Ottaviani. Why not have him twice? We then got Yayovsky and Brzezinski as your top 19 drivers. Then our final group will be Rudinger, Enzo Benito, Hasser, Carton, Neg, Worley, and Vermeulen. DNF then for Giddison and Dreys. A bit of misfortune for them. But there we go. That is the second race done and indeed dusted for today. And it belongs to Nikodem Wisniewski. Tim Yarshall and Nikodem Wisniewski, both with race victories. I think they're going to be first and second heading into the final couple of rounds. Just want to make sure my chair's moved across. There's a new camera, guys, so I'm not even in the middle now. It is what it is. But yeah, it's becoming a 4-driver race, but realistically, I would say it's more of a 2-driver race. I think Nikodem Wisniewski and Tim Yarshall, they've both announced themselves as the favourites going into our final 4 races.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the reality of the situation. Drivers at the front of the field that aren't named Tim Yarshall are hoping that Tim Yarshall has a poor event at some point over the next couple of races. Of course, we only have 2 races now until we're done with the season. We have the event at Red Bull Ring, and we have the event at the Hockenheim Ring for the end of the season as well. Those are the only 2 opportunities where maybe potentially at some point someone could get a big enough points delta over Yarshel to make it competitive at the very end of the season. But right now, there's no sign really of that happening. At least if Yarshel can control it.
Well, let's check out the calendar, shall we? Again, we've had our first 8 races of our 12 race season. We've had the Norris-Ring, we had the Nürburgring, we had the Lausitz-Ring, then the Sachsenring, and then we head to the Red Bull Ring, which is going to be frantic. Of course, track limits there. It's a little bit more forgiving than most race circuits on any sim you ever race on. And then we head to where DTM normally finishes. Not always finished there, but for the most part, it normally finishes at the Hockenheim Ring, and that will be where our finale is as well. Plenty of prizes on offer for our drivers. Let's actually show you at home what our drivers are racing for before we maybe get some interviews. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what is up for grabs. We've got real racing opportunities for some of the drivers. We're going to win themselves e-scooters. They're going to get their racing license as well. There's prizes for fastest lap awards. There's prizes for being pole sitter the most time. Although Tim Yarshal's pretty much shown that one up with 5 out of a possible 8, and there's only 3 more drivers who've got 1 each. So there's only 4 races left. Do your maths. Someone can tie him. That is about it. I guess they get half of a wheel rim each. And yeah, we have the fastest lap award. There's plenty of prizes for the drivers. But so let's talk about our driver of the day then, Connor. We haven't done this across the season so far, but I'm going to throw a case out there for Christopher Hugveld. I think P6 and P10, considering I'm just looking at his race results. He's at a 31st, he's at a 17th. He had a DNF twice, and he did not start twice as well. To then come here and get a P6 and a P10, that is a pretty big turn up in terms of performance.
It's pretty good going, and of course, there is no doubt about his abilities. He's been in these top races here on RaceRoom for a good while at this point, and he's going from strength to strength. I would say he's in a very similar sort of situation as to what Yarshel was maybe about 2 years ago. Finishing on a good day, finishing bottom end of the top 10, starting to try and tease at that top 5. And so if the trend bodes well for Hugveld, if he follows in the same sort of footsteps as Yarshel, maybe in the DTM Esports Championship for 2026, maybe he'll be one of the top contenders and leading the championship. But right now, he's I think he needed that race just to try and reset himself mentally, because obviously it's been very, very poor over the course of this season so far. The results that he's had have not been representative of his pace. I think these 2 races at the Sachsenring are now representative of his pace, so hopefully he can take that sort of momentum into both the Red Bull Ring and the Hockenheim for the end of the season as well.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we've talked about Christopher Hugveld. We've also mentioned our top 4 title protagonists. One of them is ready for an interview, so we welcome into the broadcast Mr. Jeffrey Rietveld. Obviously, Jeffrey, it was kind of a good day in terms of where you finished, but that pesky Tim Yarshel still keeps taking points away from you.
Yeah, not very lovely now, is it? I mean, yeah, I think the Porsche was clearly the quicker car here today. So, just try to maximize on points. I was very surprised how quick some of the REG guys were as well in the first qualifying for the sprint race. Because I did like a 0.92 and it was a P7. So I was very surprised with that, as I was happy with the lap. But not too bad. But yeah, of course, Tim is scored many points today. So.
In that second race, of course, we had that mandatory pit stop. Was there any temptation to stay out a bit longer? It seemed like the front half of the field came down in pretty much as soon as they were able to. Was there any temptation to go longer, especially when you had two red line cars near enough the front to try and split the strategy there, or was it we're going to pit as early as possible and that's the only option we're going for?
It was the only option to go like really early or just pit one lap after the guy in front of you decides to pit, because the car gets slower throughout the stint here because the tire wear is like having more impact than the fuel. So there's no point in going long ever. So that's why I decided to pit as soon as the pit window opened, and unfortunately Tim did the same thing. So couldn't go for the undercut there, and also my pit stop wasn't the greatest. So
On the contrary, it looked really good from our perspective. It's a little bit quicker than Tim's. You caught up a touch, but if it wasn't good, Jeffrey, I'll take your word for it. We've got 4 races to go. What do you need to do to maybe come out on top and become a DTM Esports champion?
get lucky. I think the next track will be Rebel I think it will be a really good track for the Porsche once again. So yeah, I just need to make sure that my own performance is good and I maximize the car, and there's nothing else I can do, right? So in Tim's hands to like not make a mistake. He's pretty close on penalty points to get a qualifying ban, so that would have like a huge impact on his on his race. So yeah, I'm hoping something will happen there, to be honest.
Wow. Okay, there you go. Heard it there. Tim Archer was close to penalty points. Cheers, Jeffrey, for your time, mate, and enjoy your weekend.
No worries. Thank you.
Nice to hear from Jeffrey there. Connery, that's a revelation. Tim Yarshall, close to a qualifying ban. Is that the maybe the catalyst for a few other drivers to have a chance of winning this championship? Because in terms of his race pace, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to say anyone else can win it other than Tim Yarshall.
Yeah, that's an interesting little fact that we didn't quite have that bit of data coming into this. So that's a very, very interesting fact there. That might change the dynamic a little bit at the front of the field. It might cause the drivers to be just a little bit more aggressive with him, because we now know that if he's aggressive back at them and gets involved in an instant that's his fault, then potentially it might be a qualifying ban, maybe for the final race of the season, or the final event of the season. So yeah, that's an interesting little thing. It could be one of those things that we consider in the future with regards to when we if he does qualify out of position, for example, does have to try and press through the field, he's got to be a bit more careful than some of the other drivers doing that than he would otherwise. But yeah, that's an interesting little tidbit there. We'll see if it affects the championship, but it's not the position you want to be in, really, having that hanging over your head.
No, certainly not. But it looks like we haven't got anyone else to talk to. That no one wants to come and talk to us on the broadcast today, which is fine. It's all good. We'll go off and enjoy our weekends. But from me, again, thank you, Connery. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes, to all of the drivers, and to everybody watching at home. We've got 8 races into our 12-race season. We've got 4 to go. We're going to be back next time at the same time next Friday. Take care and have a good weekend.